Google and OpenAI trading fire, Disney betting $1 billion, Apple's AI chief stepping down. This is the last week of 2025, and it's absolutely insane. At the top of our list, we have the Google's Gemini 3 Flash. On December 16th, Google released this new model and immediately made it available inside the Gemini app. So by default, hundreds of millions of people are now hitting Gemini 3 Flash and no longer the older models. In Google's own announcement, they describe Gemini 3 Flash as frontier intelligence built for speed. And they say it pushes the frontier of performance versus cost and latency. It's approximately 3 times faster than the previous Gemini 2.5 Pro model, while still outperforming it on major benchmarks and tests. Something that is pretty uncommon, as it is generally quite the opposite pricing shows the strategy. The model is priced around $0.50 per million input tokens with aggressive output pricing, positioning it as the high-value product for coding, customer support, translations, document changing, and analysis. The report also notes that companies like JetBrains, Figma, Cursor, Harvey, and Latitude have already started integrating Gemini 3 Flash, and that it scores about 78% on the SWE Bench verified coding benchmark, performing better than the earlier Pro-class models. The message from Google is very clear. Most users and most businesses don't need the absolute most powerful model available on Earth. Most of them require something that is fast, cheap, and good enough to accomplish most of their tasks. Gemini 3 Flash is Google's attempt to own that market as soon as possible. Now let's look at how OpenAI reacted. On December 11th, OpenAI launched GPT 5.2 just weeks after releasing GPT 5.1, which is a bit unusual since the gap is short for a major model family. According to reporting from major business correspondents, CEO Sam Altman issued an internal code red and temporarily paused non-essential projects, including work on AI agents and advertising, to focus teams on making GPT 5.2 valuable enough to compete against with Google's Gemini line. OpenAI describes GPT 5.2 as its most capable model series yet for professional knowledge work, with 3 variants: Instant for faster generation, Thinking for complex reasoning-related tasks, and Pro for getting the most accurate results. Coverage highlights improvements in reasoning, programming, long context understanding, spreadsheets, presentations, and image perception, and on top of that, reduced hallucinations compared to GPT 5.1, which the previous version. European Tech Reports highlights that GPT 5.2 aims primarily at enterprise workloads, building data dashboards, automating office-related tasks, generating code, and acting as an assistant. In the meantime, OpenAI points to sheer usage. ChatGPT is reported to have around 700 million weekly active users, which gives OpenAI a gather reasonable amount of feedback to train itself further and retention advantage. When it is being compared with Google's latest products, Google is trying to increase speed and reduce cost with Gemini 3 Flash, and OpenAI is focusing to keep the capability and reliability while still rolling out models fast enough to stay in the game. The next one is more on the regulatory side, which is focusing on the intellectual property, Disney's billion-dollar investment in OpenAI. Around December 11th, multiple outlets reported that Disney will invest $1 billion into OpenAI and sign a 3-year licensing deal so that OpenAI will get the chance to use over 200 characters from Disney Animation, Marvel, Pixar, and Star Wars in products like Sora. Reuters reports that the agreement has a 1-year exclusivity window where OpenAI is going to get access to those characters, and that Disney can integrate OpenAI's tools internally, from production workflows to employee assistance. The deal also gives Disney warrants that can convert into additional OpenAI equity, tying Disney's upside directly to OpenAI's success. This is a move obviously going to improve the card deck the OpenAI has against Google. Having all the Disney characters available for users without copyright restriction will not only draw private users, but also animators and filmmakers. CNN calls it a $1 billion hedge on the future of video, pointing out that Disney is planning to feature user-generated Sora content on Disney Plus and other platforms, essentially giving the possibility to fan creativity with official IP under controlled regulations. Legal experts state that this might mark the end of the war narrative between Hollywood and AI labs, at least for some of the studios, because it shows a possibility where rights holders license characters, share revenue, and influence, instead of only suing. This is surely going to be a game changer in the whole text-to-image generation market. While Google and OpenAI are racing against each other, Apple is onto something else. In mid-December, it was reported that John Giannandrea, Apple's senior executive in charge of AI and machine learning, is set to retire in 2026, and that is defiantly going to affect the upcoming Siri, now targeted for spring 2026. CNBC notes that Apple was planning to ship a dramatically improved Siri experience in 2025, with more contextual understanding and generative features, but now it is expected that it will be delayed to iOS 26.x update instead. This is also going to create frustration on the investment side, with analysts saying Apple effectively punted on AI this year and warning that 2026 is going to be a make-or-break year for proving Apple has a real AI strategy. Some of the other publications focusing on Apple have found references in internal iOS code pointing to an upgraded Siri that will likely integrate closely with a new HomePad Smart Home Hub. It is going to be a feature stronger understanding what is on the screen, and it will be more like a real assistant than a voice command interface. But the issue is that Giannandrea's responsibilities are being split across multiple executives, and this is also diminishing the AI pace they are having compared to the companies like Google and OpenAI. To be more precise on this, Apple still has enormous hardware and ecosystem power, but looking into 2026, it looks like they are a bit late to generative AI, and the market is watching closely to see if the new Siri actually matches what users now expect from ChatGPT or Gemini. The last big topic from the final week of 2025 is safety, specifically how AI systems treat teenagers. According to some of the reports on December 18th, OpenAI and Anthropic are rolling out new safety measures designed specifically for under 18 users of ChatGPT and Claude. Reports explains that both companies have already come up with an age prediction systems that can estimate when a user is likely a teen and automatically enable a safer interaction mode. This mode enables the AI to become more cautious about adult or risky content, takes extra care with sensitive topics like self-harm or eating disorders. The report also points out that updated behavior guidelines now are more restrictive on the teen's safety when there is a tension between answering anything and protecting a minor. The system is going to prone to choose protection. There are also going to be some misclassification. However, those who are misclassified can verify their age and turn off teen settings, but minors will default into the safer configuration by design. This is definitely a bold move against teen safety. It has been quite some time that labs were trying to come up with a better plan on this issue. However, they were quite slow on this. This automatic detection system will be a great way to monitor user behavior and adjust the chat function accordingly, which is going to be positive for the parents as well. This last week of 2025 shows us Google prioritizing speed and price, OpenAI going for strategic decisions, Disney buy into AI in a massive way. Apple is under pressure to catch up with Google and OpenAI and tools that can enable teen safety in a better way. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and until next time, bye for now.